Welcome back to another episode of Past Our Prime. What's that? Past Our Prime.
That's
Episode
our
3.
fries. Just put the fries in the bag, Julian. Come on now. Put the primes in the bag.
Put the fries in the bag. Jordan alongside me once again, as always. Jordan, how we doing?
I'm doing well. We're going to be covering Game 6. The Pacers versus Knicks.
We got the finals coming up, baby.
In Indiana. Yeah. Finals are coming up. Pacers win it. What was the final score of the game?
125 to 108.
Oh, man, not necessarily close to the end there, huh?
Nope. It kind of turned into like an Obi top-in like dunk contest at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what it was at the end of the game. But yeah, it kind of seemed like this game was like, it was only a 4-point differential at half.
Right.
And it like honestly didn't, to me, honestly, it didn't seem like it. I feel like the Pacers kind of dictated the pace in this one, kind of dictated the game.
Right.
So it's like whenever they wanted to turn it on, they could just turn it on. And then, the Knicks would maybe come back here and there. And then, the Pacers would be like, oh, yeah, we still have to win this game. And then they'd be like, oh, yeah, let me just
get up by 8 to 10, 12 points.
Yeah. And then at point, I think there was like 2 or 3 times they brought it up to like 20. And then the Knicks would always crawl their way back to like that 10 mark. And then it would like, Pacers were like, oh, yeah, like, gotta keep you at arm's length distance here. We want to go to the finals. We're going to dictate how we play. So good game from the Pacers, man. Congrats to the Pacers first and foremost. I guess we'll do the congratulations there at the end. But yeah, what'd you see from this one, Jordan?
So key takeaways, we could start off with quarter one. Very, very intense ball pressure from the Pacers very, very early on. And they set the tempo. Usually you could see that when a team is defending home court, that they'll go out there and they rush, have consistent ball pressure, try to wear out their team early on without the momentum of the crowd on their side. My key takeaway for this one is going to have to be is actually for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson in the first quarter had 5 offensive rebounds. Yeah, I mean, he really did keep them in the game. The Pacers playing very fast, very on ball, and Mitchell Robinson keeping their team alive, I would say, with how much the Knicks were missing in the first quarter. Him going up and getting those boards and kicking it back out to his shooters was inspiring to see, and definitely Mitchell Robinson played his heart out.
Yeah, I will say there's more on Mitchell Robinson later. I do want to get to him. But before that, man, I just want to say that the Pacers played with, where I said last episode, the Pacers were paceless, where I feel like they were like the paciest of Pacers in this game. I mean,
a lot of pace there.
A lot of pace.
A lot of pace
was
there.
Too much pace for me. It was a lot.
Lots of smiling, lots of toothpaste, lots
of tooth. Yeah. Because they were cheesing a lot after this game. So I'm hoping that they all brushed their teeth and everything, because there was a lot of pictures taken from this one. It was their, since 25 years?
Yep. They haven't been back to the NBA Finals since 2000. So 25 years for the Pacers.
Yeah. And this is their second year in a row getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, so now able to get it done. But going back to the pace, man, the Knicks... Yes, the Pacers looked fast, but the Knicks look really slow. And really I don't know if it's just because the Pacers just are legitimately that fast, or if the Knicks are legitimately just that slow, or both. I don't know. Because if we're talking about maybe like this upcoming matchup between the Thunder and the Pacers, these are I think the Thunder ranked number 2 in pace, and then the Pacers are number 3, which you would maybe flip that around. Especially, I'm only talking postseason. But I would maybe flip that around, because it looks like the Pacers always play with pace. So I'm curious to see like kind of what that matchup looks like, which we'll get to on our next episode. We don't want to dive too deep into that one, but yeah, the pace of the Pacers, man, like every single board, like defensive rebound, even with made shots, man, they were throwing that thing 50 feet up the court, man, and just like looking to get in transition no matter what. And I think Jordan, you might have some stats for us on the transition points.
Yeah, yep. So actually, it's over the Eastern Conference series that I've kind of recorded that down. But for Game 6, the Pacers scored 25 points off of transition on fast breaks, while the Knicks have only scored 10. Game 5, Pacers 16 points, the Knicks 15 points. Game 4, 22 points off fast break, Knicks 9. Game 3, you have 16 points for the Pacers and 0 for the Knicks on fast breaks. You have Game 2, you have 14 points off transition with the Knicks only at 7. And for Game 1, you have 18 points for the Pacers and 11 points to the Knicks.
So they literally beat them in every single game on fast break points.
Every single game. For the entire Eastern Conference series, you have 111 points for the Pacers scored on fast breaks, and you only have 52 points for the Knicks.
My God.
To put it into perspective.
Over half.
Yeah, over half. Yeah. Transitional ball was definitely a key factor in why the Pacers ended up ultimately running the Knicks out. And it's like I said in the last episode there, while the Knicks play as fast as they can, their transitional defense is very, very slow. I highlighted a point where they actually started creating plays based on Cat taking forever to get back up the court. Is just like kind of toss it back to him and let him bowling ball his way through the paint, right? And it just the Pacers, I felt like in this game versus last game, they realized how slow they were, and they said, we're just going to go out there and run. We're going to run you rabbit. We're going to run you dry. Every single time we touch the ball, we're going to send 2 people and we're going to throw a Hail Mary. That's what it seemed like it was. And when the Knicks would get a turnover or a steal, you'll notice that the Pacers already have 3, 4, and sometimes even 5 people back. There were a few times if you watch the possessions and how they turn out, when the Knicks are driving up the court, they all have, it's 1 or 2 people, and then all 5 defenders for the Pacers are already back, right? And so when you get to that level of speed, it's very, very hard to compete with. And you notice that definitely in the first quarter.
Yeah. And it was tough for the Knicks too, because Karl Anthony Towns didn't even touch the basketball until it was like almost 5 minutes into that first quarter. That was the first time I didn't write down the actual time that he actually touched the ball, but I think it was around like the 7-minute mark or whatever. I think it was definitely under 8 minutes, but that was the first time he'd actually touched the ball in this game. And then
credit to Pascal Siakam, he was the defender on Cat.
They were swarming him. Yep. And it made everything difficult. I mean, him and Jalen Brunson, all game long, it just looks so tough. And especially for, 2 guys that we consider, all-stars of this league. And especially in Jalen Brunson, who has a really, really tight handle, can get to the rim, even at the size that he is. He's able to find guys. He's able to get down. He's able to get downhill. He's able to, use his step back and use his leverage, against defenders, and be able to create and draw fouls, right? But in this game, it just seemed like everything was so tough. And I was like looking at this TV, like obviously, impressed by the Pacers' swarm of defense, but I was also like, pass the damn ball.
Right.
Give it up. Like, somebody's got to get open, because there was really nobody else helping Jalen Brunson either. I mean, it was that bad. It was like dudes are like trying to box out other guys to try to get open. It was like, guys, we learned this when we're like 7 years old. Like, we set screens for each other. Like, you ever play like ultimate basketball, like where you cannot dribble?
I never played basketball a day in my life. So.
Well, yeah, you you have not.
Have I ever played ultimate basketball? Well, I've
like
never
PE,
played basketball, but I played ultimate.
You play that in like PE. It's like a young kid game, like you played ultimate football, right?
Right.
Like where you pass the ball and you can't run. So it's the same concept with ultimate basketball. It's like you just can't dribble, right? So you have to pass the ball, and you learn that in like preschool. It's like,
oh yeah,
the ball moves
ball,
faster. The ball moves faster than you run. The ball moves faster than you run. So pass the ball.
Right.
And that's what the Pacers
can you take with ultimate basketball? Can you
None.
take any? You
I think you can take 2. Well, if you get, you can take 2. You know what I mean? Like,
gotcha.
you can. Well, I guess, like, I don't really know. Like, you could catch it, take 2 steps, like your usual 2 steps, but you have to stop. You can use your pivot foot, right? You can swing yourself around and try to, pass the
I
ball.
see.
But that's what we teach to our 6-7-year-olds, man. It's like you just got to pass the ball, and I
Right.
think that's what the Pacers did tonight. It's like we spoke on earlier. It's like they're getting the rebound, or
Hmm.
taking it from a made basket from the Knicks. They're taking it from out of bounds and chucking
Hmm.
that thing up 50 feet down the court because the ball is moving faster than every other guy on the Knicks. You know what I mean? And the same should go for the Knicks. And that's what was making me like question their ability to stay in this game. I was like, why is Jalen Brunson trying to play one-on-one? Why is Karl Anthony Towns chucking up 30 feet away from the basket?
Yeah.
Like
I
there's
mean,
no
they
reason
were
to do that.
running they were running a lot of man-to-man defense, and I thought the Pacers were doing an excellent job of driving to the paint, kicking it back, driving to the paint,
Yeah, it
kicking
was
it
too
back.
easy,
That
man.
great composure, causing that separation in between the defenders. Yeah, it was ultimately very, very easy.
It was too easy. It was too easy for the Pacers to get in the paint. I mean, we're talking one screen, dude. You set one screen if you're the Pacers. Set one screen. Tyrese Halliburton is already touching the paint. It was the Tyrese Halliburton show the fourth quarter. I swear to God, he made like 40 floaters in the paint, because that's what kind of gave them that lead back in the fourth quarter, which essentially led into the Obi Toppin dunk contest. But that was like, for like 4 possessions in a row, it was like one screen, it's like almost a switch. Like they were like hedging him. They were like, Karl Anthony Towns was having to hedge Tyrese Halliburton. And then it was like, Mikal Bridges trying to follow up behind the screen and trying to get back to him. And it was like, well, now at that point, you're already freed up, and now it's Karl Anthony Towns going back into like drop coverage. And then, Tyrese Halliburton has all this space to work with, and he's just getting
Right.
to the lane using his little floater every single time. And it was money
Right.
every single time. And I was like, guys, can we not like put somebody else like on this guy? Can we not, like, instead of hedging, like, let's just go ahead and double him? Go ahead and do something else, because, well, I guess you couldn't be able to double him either, because it's like everybody was knocking down shots. Everybody. So
Maybe Tyrese maybe had a great fourth quarter where his shots were really going in, but during quarter one, the reason why the Knicks were able to stay in it, I mean, at the end of the first quarter, it was 25-24, right? So they were only down by 1 point.
yeah,
The reason why the Knicks were able to stay in it is because Tyrese Halliburton had 3 careless passes to a turnover, which allowed momentum to be stopped, but allowed the Knicks to drive down the court and end up hitting an open 3 or an open look. And I want to say that the Knicks, the reason why why they stayed in the game as long as they did was because of Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounds. It's
Yeah.
not like the Knicks were shooting lights out, right?
No.
They were, a lot of them were back and forth calls and plays that were happening, back and forth drives in the paint. I agree with you, like what you said in the last episode, is Cat gets fouled a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And if you notice it, just watch Cat and whoever is guarding him or defending him. Every time he goes up for a shot, it may look like he's kind of flopping, right? By the way, he's very exaggerative. He is getting beat up down there in the paint every single time. I'm surprised that they don't call it every single time, right? But that's just how aggressive Cat was playing in the first quarter on the inside.
Yeah, this was a like overall aggressive game. I
Very.
think like game 5, game 6 were very aggressive games.
Mhm.
There was one foul, I think it was on Brunson, where I forget who actually fouled him. Maybe it was I can't remember who it was, but he essentially just got slapped in the face, like on a layup. It like just straight up like damn near punched in the face.
Oh, and they reviewed it for a flagrant.
Yeah, they reviewed it, and it wasn't
I want to say it
anything
was
like intentional.
maybe Toppin.
Was it Toppin? Yeah, it was Toppin. I think it was Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
Or no,
the guy with the tattoos. The guy with the tattoos all the way down his arms. Was it Turner or Toppin or?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but yeah,
Anyway,
got slapped in the face.
Not
They were
Obi
reviewing it.
Maybe it was. I don't remember. Yeah, maybe it was Obi Toppin. But yeah, Jalen Brunson just gets mauled in the face, and then it was like there was a couple on the on Cat that I was like, ooh, like that looks like a foul. But then there was a few on the Pacers, man, where I was like, why aren't we calling fouls this game? And then there would be like some like basic like touch fouls too, and I'd be like, again, like what can we be a little bit more consistent? Like I don't know what we're doing here, but
Right.
I think again overall it's like the Knicks want to slow you down. And if you're not able to slow the game down if you're the Knicks, then
Mm-hmm.
you're like at a really really big disadvantage
Mm-hmm.
because all the Pacers want to do is run. Run, running, 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 running. You know that song? I think that's the song that goes. They probably have like AirPods in, and that's the only song, just that part on repeat the entire game because that's all they do. I was
Right.
like, dude. And the Knicks, it's like, why are we not getting back? Like after made shots, like how are we not back on defense yet? Like
Right.
how are we not stopping the ball? Why can't we switch defensively? Why can't we stop anybody from going in the paint? And then I would feel like that with the Pacers sometimes. Like the reason that the Pacers allowed the Knicks to get back in the game at times was because
Careless
their
fouls.
defense was terrible and there was
Yep.
careless fouls. There was
Mhm.
careless turnovers. It was like,
Yep.
man, this game got really ugly at points. And then it looked really awesome at points. But there was a point in the third quarter where it was like, the Pacers fouled, I think, like 5 or 6 times in a row. I swear to God.
Right.
And I was like,
it was the
what is
it was
going
the second
on?
quarter. So the end of the second quarter was 58-54.
Yeah.
But the sequence of fouls was around the 6-minute mark, I want to say, of the second quarter. Yeah, I actually wrote it down here. Nesmith actually grabbed Cat on a shot, right? You could see it intentionally grabbed him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then Halliburton grabs Bridges, right? So Bridges was kind of, he makes the move, little
It was
shake.
off the pick and roll, I think.
Yeah, it was on the pick
And he
and
was
roll,
like-
and then he was driving up, and you could see right in front of the official. It wasn't
like
it wasn't like
holding him,
anything
like
to be
hugging
covered, but
him.
yeah, he pulled his
He's
torso
pulling, he's
back.
pulling
yeah.
his ass.
Yeah.
He was trying to hump that mother.
here, boy. That's what he was saying. A very, very obvious foul, right? And then Nembhard shoves Brunson, right? Just
Yes.
flat out shoves
Yeah.
him. And it actually drew. They were down. The Knicks were down about 6 to 8 points, and it actually went back to a tie game, 41-41. And if you're watching that, just the carelessness, the undiscipline
Yeah.
that the Pacers were demonstrating on those sequence of fouls is if you go into Oklahoma City, you cannot be careless with your fouls.
No.
You cannot.
I'll give you a stat here.
Oh man, dogs are going crazy.
That's my dog. I'll give you a stat. Let me grab her real quick. You can keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, it was the sequence of fouls that had occurred at that 6 minute to that around 5 minute mark. There was also, if you noticed, the Knicks, when they were shooting a ball, they reviewed a shooting foul that had happened where, let's see, it was Anunoby shot and led with his knee to Pascal Siakam, right? And when he was going up, it was his left knee. When you shoot, you can't lead with the lower part of your body driving up because you're kind of forcing it to where the defender has to go over the top of you. But I mean, Anunoby's knee went straight into Siakam's pelvis part. Yeah, junk, man. Like straight into it was as Siakam still was able to have composure enough to like get his hands up and hit the ball. I mean, obviously they were saying it was a shooting foul. But if I was Siakam, just the level of toughness to continue going in, they didn't take him out after that play either. He was right there after he stood up,
good.
took it like a man.
Balls of steel.
Balls of steel. But they ended up reviewing it. This was at the 3 minute mark, going before the half, and they were trying to get it challenged, and they ultimately failed that challenge.
Yeah, failed challenge.
But that's not the only time.
I was very
that
surprised.
happened.
I was very surprised that they actually failed the challenge. That was, I don't know. That
It also happened in quarter 3, where
Yeah.
Cat went up
Yeah,
and
they didn't have
shot
any
the
challenges
ball
left.
and led with his knee and very, very straight right into the junk, man.
yeah.
And they didn't call that one, didn't overturn that one either. So I don't really know. Those were kind of iffy. I think those were some serious calls that the refs need to start protecting the athletes a little bit. I understand it's the playoffs. Man, Eastern Conference Finals, it's aggressive. You're playing to get to that next level and go and try to win a ring. But at the same time, you have to protect the athletes out there because it's the longevity of the game. So
Yeah. I will say I was gonna give you a stat before my dog just went haywire. She sees other dogs and then she's like, oh my heavens, I have to scream at this other dog. So this other stat though, I think I heard this earlier today, maybe on the Down to Dunk podcast from Oklahoma City. Go check them out. They're from the Athletic. But I think the Pacers give up on average 28 free throws per game in the postseason or
wow,
something along those lines. It's wild how many fouls.
undisciplined,
And it's like, yes, they play aggressively and they play fast, but they are a little bit undisciplined. And again, playing at this pace against an Oklahoma City team, you don't know how much this team could actually turn the ball over if you do get a little bit careless. So again, more on that next episode, but I just wanted to throw that out there just because that's just something that we gotta maybe look forward to. But yeah, I thought the Pacers at times during this game even just got very careless and undisciplined, right?
hmm
So it allowed the Knicks to crawl their way back at times in the game where I felt like the Pacers, they're up 17. It's like, okay, just build this thing, man. Just build it to 30. Like, just end it. And then the Knicks would end up coming back. And I don't think it wasn't necessarily what the Knicks were doing more so than just how undisciplined the Pacers were playing at certain times in the game.
right,
I felt like the Knicks defense, they would step up at times, right? Like
hmm
they did cause a lot of those turnovers. They tried to step up and play more of the Pacer style of basketball that game. And not in the whole game, but in certain situations, which allowed and caused the Pacers to make certain errors.
right,
But ultimately, it was like the Pacers, I think, in their minds, after some of these Knicks, big runs, they would be like, okay, we got to put our foot to the pedal again and,
hmm
stop them out, right? Or
right,
foot to their throat and stop them out,
right.
So,
Well, going into the half, it's 58-54 Indiana. I just want to give you some stats here at half between the Knicks and the Pacers. So on fast break points at the half, Knicks 2, Pacers 8. Okay.
uh-huh.
Points off turnovers, Knicks 2, Pacers 16. They had 16 points
Mm-hmm.
off of turnovers.
Yep.
Okay. Rebounds, Knicks 23, Pacers 13. So the rebound game is one of the biggest factors of why the Knicks were
Yeah.
able to stay in the
Yeah.
game. Not that they were shooting efficiently, they just shot more often, right? They
Yeah,
had more of
exactly.
those possessions. The rebound game with Mitchell Robinson and Cat being down there in the paint, they were really, really doing well.
Mm-hmm.
But here's
But I
another
think
big
that
thing.
also, like, kind of is another reason why they lost the game. I think what they did well in game 5 was that they didn't worry so heavily on trying to crash offensive boards until they were up.
hmm
But it was like they were more focused on trying to get back and set their defense up so that way they're not allowing the Pacers to just keep up that high rhythm and like
hmm
transition point after transition point after transition point. It was like, at least in game 5, we were like, F it, we're just going to get back. We're going to set our defense. We're going to run our offense the way we run it. And even if we miss shots, like we're going to hustle back on defense and make sure everything is clogged up.
hmm
Even though they still lost in transition points, it was still like way better because they were able to slow down the game and play at the rhythm that the Knicks needed to play. Like they slowed it down. I think if you're holding the Pacers to like 105 to 100, in that game, I think it was 94, right? So it was like, if you're holding the
sub
Pacers,
100, first time in the
yeah, exactly. And it
in
was
the
like, if you're
entire
holding the
East,
Pacers to that, like that is the Knicks game. Like the Knicks are not like a team that is gonna just shoot you out of the building, right? Like that's a team that's like, we're gonna play aggressive, we're gonna play hard and gritty, but we don't have like Steph Curry's out here or whatnot. Like we're
Right.
not gonna average 120 like the Pacers. So if this is a game where the Pacers are gonna score 120, 130 on you, like they're gonna win the game no matter what. Like
Right.
if you go into a shootout with these guys, you're losing. So I think what they did well in game 5 is not what they did in game 6 at all.
Right. And at the half too, the points off the bench
Yeah.
was a big differential as well. Knicks 5, Pacers 16, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at a quarter of your points coming from the bench, while all of your points primarily are coming from your starters with the Knicks. You're talking about fresh bodies, right? The depth of the team. And the Pacers are able to constantly rotate in their bench and score efficiently and keep them in the game while their starters are allowed rest.
Right.
And if with the Knicks bench only scoring 5 points, majority of your points are coming from your starters, which means that your starters are out there more of the time. And I think at the tempo and at the rate that the Pacers play, as far as how fast they are on those transition drives to the basket, your starters are having to run suicides all the time. Every single,
just getting worn out, man.
Worn out. And with, Cat playing with a left knee contusion, there was a couple times where he was holding it. He was kind of hobbling on it. You have to be able to rotate more of your guys in there. And so going into quarter three,
no excuses.
Going into quarter 3 and quarter 4, I want to say that the Pacers just kind of ran with it, right? And the New York their starters got tired. It's a long game. It's a physical game. They just got wore out, and you could tell going into actually at the beginning of quarter 3, they started letting up a lead and slowing down. Of course, after the break, after the half, and the start of the fourth, you get kind of a little bit of a time to recoup, regenerate, drink your energy drinks or whatever supplements they're drinking on the sidelines.
Gotta get that Celsius in you.
Yeah, whatever.
Drink a little Jordan's magic stuff.
Whatever they're doing to get that energy back, but within 4 minutes of the quarter, you could start to see it drain on them again. And
no, they started the fourth really well. Like the Knicks, I think they caused like 2 or 3 turnovers in a row. I think they got a 3, they got a 2 or whatever. They again brought that game back down to like 10, 9, whatever it was. And then right after that, you see it like just the constant not getting back on defense. Pacers just outpacing the Knicks, just out in transition, out in transition, out in transition. Didn't matter if you made, got a basket or not. Like we're running, and I think it was just like, I think the Pacers got a little bit more careful there too. It was like, we're going to run with our pace, but also let's not turn the damn ball over. And I think they did a really good job of that. Like just take care of the ball. And I think everything else is going to fall into place because they were shooting the ball. They were shooting the lights out of the ball, bro. Yeah, they were shooting the lights out of the
second half. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you watch quarter 3 and quarter 4, there were times when all they had to do was throw it up the court to one person, and it might be 2-on-2, it might be 3-on-3, but you see the Pacers running back, and you see starters on the Knicks, Cat being one of them,
right?
Robinson. There were times when or even Hart sometimes would be walking on the court. You're in game
these guys are
6.
so winded, bro.
They're so winded, but they're walking back because they're just exhausted.
Do you know that feeling, bro? Like whenever you run too much and you feel like you're about to throw up because you're like so dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what all of them felt like. They're like,
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm not trying to throw up on national television today.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They were not trying to do that.
Yeah.
Like, Coach, I need a break. And Tom Thibodeau was like, no,
you're staying in there. I am not losing my job because you want to walk on the court. Like, dude, they are dying. Give them some rest at least, man. Golly.
I think he tried. He definitely tried. He tried a little bit too late, though. It's too late in the series for him to try to do that. Where I feel like he figured that out in Game 5. Like, oh shit, I can play these guys. Okay, I can give Jalen Brunson a break. Okay, I'll give him a break. And then I think he tried it again, and they just lost. They just lost the game. And it was little things. Like getting back on defense.
The reason why the Pacers were able to take off with the game is because they got so many wide open looks in the 3 just because your transition to defense was so slow.
There were so many times, bro. It's like 1-2 passes. And I'm like, dude is
put
sitting.
Somebody out there that's 6'2" on a guy that's 6'8". It doesn't matter. Just get somebody that's willing to run up and at least do a little drive-by where you run by him and kind of shake him up. The Pacers had so many open looks on the three in the third quarter that it was honestly like, are they even playing out there?
I was laughing so hard at my television, dude. I was like, why is Pascal Siakam with the ball at the three-point line sitting there for like 4 seconds with no one around him? Nobody was even trying to close out. They were just letting him shoot, too. And I was like, really? We're just gonna let him shoot? It's like, this dude
please miss. I just
is a
walk just
proven
a
shooter
bit.
now. He was not a very good shooter when he was with Toronto. He is a proven shooter now. Like that guy can shoot the lights out of the ball, and he will beat you single-handedly if you let him. Like, that is how good Pascal Siakam is now. But you're like letting one of your best, if not the best two, behind Tyrese Halliburton, players on their team. It was like them just sitting there for 5 effing seconds.
And he plays so big, man. Like,
he plays
he's not the biggest guy, but from the power forward position, he kind of reminds me of like a lankier, taller Dennis Schroeder. Right? Like, the way Dennis Schroeder is defensively, he's like a little raptor, right?
Yeah,
and he's just kind of like in your face, kind of on the ball. Like, that's kind of what Siakam does. It's just like he's just like the way he shifts his hips, man, and he's just out there lanky. I mean, he was able to completely lock down Cat in the third and fourth.
Yeah,
conditioning aside, Cat being as tired as he was, it was night and day.
Yeah, it was, man. And the Pacers, they were just the better team, man. They're just a better team. They've been the better team. This is the only series that they've gotten to 6 games. Like, they haven't even played a game 7 yet. So, again, the Eastern Conference is the Eastern Conference at the end of the day, but credit where credit is due. Like, they've just been overall better than every team that they've played. So, it's going to be an interesting series against Oklahoma City because this will be the best test, I think, for both teams so far. I think with Oklahoma City's defense and also on top of that, Oklahoma City being the best transitional defense in the NBA, I don't know how well the Pacers transition offense works because of that. I don't know if maybe that just offsets. I'm not sure. And on top of that, like, Oklahoma City likes to run too. So I think it's going to be a really interesting series. I think the matchups are really good. But the one thing that, again, I touched on earlier with the whole switching thing, it's like Pacers are not going to, they're going to have to prove to beat you in the half court against Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City can switch everything. Because they have so many perimeter defenders. They have so many attack defenders. Where the Knicks, it was Mikal Bridges, and I literally can't think of another guy. Maybe Josh Hart. Like, I don't know of another guy that was like a great, there's not like a great perimeter defender on the Knicks. Where Oklahoma City has like 5.
Where you got, was it Shamet?
Shamet, but he doesn't play that much.
Right.
Shamet had another great game, I thought. Like, but not great,
he's fast enough to get out to the... Get that guy in.
He's athletic enough to...
Yeah, give Brunson a little bit of break.
Gotta give him the minutes.
Yeah, just give him some minutes.
Give him some minutes. I don't understand why they didn't give him more. Because he was the only... Like, again, like, I really wanted to touch on the... We'll touch on him here in a second. But one of my points later on is going to be Mitchell Robinson and Shamet. I think they give you a really big spark going into the offseason. For the offseason. So, I don't know. Is there anything else from this game specifically that you want to touch on?
No. Yep. First time Pacers go to the finals since 2000. So congratulations to them. Other than the iffy calls on the back-to-back fouls and the shots they were leading with their knee. I mean, yeah. Congrats, Indiana, and
why do you sound so sad about that?
Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
I love a small market team going to the NBA. This is 2 small market teams in the NBA Finals. People are hating it. Why?
I was kind of rooting for the Knicks. I like Cat. I like the way he plays. The market is exciting to see all of the big names there. The celebrities that can be there.
Caitlin Clark will be there.
Yeah.
In Indiana. That's a pretty big name.
Yeah, she can shoot from anywhere on the court.
I wonder if Angel Reese will just show up for Oklahoma City just because Caitlin Clark is with Indiana. Angel Reese just shows up and starts rooting for Oklahoma City. I'd be like, get out. Get out of here. We don't want you here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can kind of move on from that.
Yeah. I do want to ask you some
From there, we
questions.
transitioned into the yeah. Go ahead.
So I do want to ask you this, man. What do we think then what do the Knicks do from here? Like, do we like I don't want to say we blow it up. I want to make this like a segment, like
Mm-hmm.
blow it up or run it back. You know,
Okay.
I think they need to run it back, but what do we think the Knicks have to do this offseason in order to maybe get past the hump of the Eastern Conference Finals?
They need to extend their bench.
I
They
think so too.
they need to make some trades. Maybe trade Mitchell Robinson. I mean, he had a hell of a game and a hell of a series, such an asset for that team. But now that you have, it's
I
either
gotta
I
keep
think
Mitchell. I don't know if he's tradable right.
okay. Um,
I'd have to look into it though. I don't know.
yeah, I
But
mean, they
I
just
think
have
they
to
just need
they
to.
have to pick up more depth.
Yeah, I think they just need another ball handler. They need a ball handler and they need like an attack defender, like what I
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned earlier. Like they need somebody that was like on ball, like alongside Mikal Bridges, alongside Josh Hart, like guys that will play hard, but
Mm-hmm.
some guy that's either a starter or a guy that can come off the bench that can guard, 1 through 4, maybe even 1 through 5,
Right,
depending on the
like
night,
the
depending on the
Caruso
matchup.
of the
Like
Oklahoma
a
City
Caruso
Thunder.
of
Yeah.
yeah, again, stop, Luna. Like they just need that type of ball player. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like another ball handler, just because Jalen Brunson has the ball in his hands so much, like they need another guy to come in and give Jalen Brunson the rest that he needs.
I like the matchup with or the duo, the dynamic between Brunson and Cat. I think
I was gonna ask you that next. Yeah, like if we
I think it's
like the
great.
Brunson Cat duo. I do like it. I just think that they just need the pieces around them to
Really
really get
solidify it.
over
They
it,
need a
you know.
third.
And it's nothing like a superstar. I know a lot of talk right now about Kevin Durant going over to the Knicks, which I hate that
Hmm.
scenario. I think just because I don't know about the pieces that you might have to give up in order to afford him,
Right.
but also I don't know if that makes anybody better. I really don't. Like I think Kevin Durant is such a ball heavy type of player and how dominant he is, like and we know that he can be. I just don't know if it maybe offsets the greatness of who Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are right now, and like their dynamic duo. And I think the league is starting to move towards kind of like that, just hey, we just need one really good all-star and then the rest need to know like their place in their position, their role on the team. As long as we can have like the guy like SGA and then everybody else falls behind him, whether that's Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, or it's Chet Holmgren then Jalen Williams, and then everybody else kind of falls behind that 1 through 15. They all kind of know where they're at.
Hmm.
And not saying every team is going to be structured like that, but if you can have like that one solidified all star, which I feel like that is Jalen Brunson in a way, and I feel like that
Hmm.
is Cat in a way. But either way, like one of those two guys can go win you a ball game any given night, just
Hmm.
to depending on who's hot or who's not. But Karl Anthony Towns can go, hit 8 threes in a game if he needs to. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well from three this series or this postseason, but that is something that I feel like can be accomplished in the upcoming years. And I think Jalen Brunson is always going to be him. And he's always going to be aggressive. He's always going to be that, that ball handler and that playmaker that we need him to be, right? If you're the Knicks. But I think there just needs to be like not a Kevin Durant on your team on top of that,
Right.
because there just needs to be other guys like other Josh Harts in a
Hmm.
way, like can you go out and get yourself another Josh Hart that's a little bit more like I think Josh Hart could be more consistent. Like he did not have a good series. I want to touch on Josh Hart just a little bit because he struggled this series. And especially this game he went 16%, one for 6 from the field. So it's like you expect better from Josh Hart, but it's like again the aggressiveness in which he plays and just the mentality that he brings into the game and what he
Hmm.
brings to your locker room, I feel like is really important. So I think this team needs to run it back just with another piece added. And I think what you got in that is you found a place for Shamit. I think you found a place for Mitchell Robinson. Like I
Hmm.
think those are two pieces that you really need to utilize next season and not wait until like literally the very very last moment to give them the minutes that they deserve.
Right.
But let's go ahead and add that extra piece in with Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart,
So
Mitchell
you're
Robinson,
saying
Shamit.
Yeah, so you're saying you need a 6-man defender, perimeter defender for the Knicks.
Pretty much, yeah. Like a guy that, even if it's like just a 3-and-D guy type of guy, right? Like,
and Tim Thibodeau has to learn to rotate.
Tommy Thibodeau.
Tomathan. Tom Thibodeau. What is it?
Tomathan Thibodeau.
So whatever the hell his name is, he's got to learn to rotate his athletes and give them the exposure. Because I mean, you got to think about it. If you're on the bench and you're not getting minutes, you're looking at getting traded, or you are no longer in the NBA.
Yeah,
and so when those guys get on the court, they are ready to give you their 100% because everything to them is film and playtime or potential to go somewhere else and continue making, your earnings, your livelihood in the NBA and making a name for yourself playing alongside the greats. Yeah. Right. One thing that I wanted to talk about is Halliburton and Pascal Siakam during the MVP Eastern Conference.
Can we just congratulate Siakam first?
Yeah.
So, woo! Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, definitely. Pascal Siakam, MVP of the Eastern Conference series and finals. I think it's very, very well deserved. What is your take? Do you feel like it should have gone to Pascal, or do you feel like it should have gone to Halliburton?
I think it could have gone to either one of them. And I think the voting kind of says it all, right? It was like, 5-4, 4-3? What was the voting?
It was, so there were 9 voters. And
so 4-5?
4-5, yes.
Yeah. It
was pretty
I mean, I think it could have gone to either one of them. I think Pascal Siakam played a very consistent series where I think, Halliburton was playing pretty consistent up until that game 5. I think he had a pretty good, or not in game 5. Game 5, he had a terrible game. But even this game, it was like inconsistent first quarter, then started to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. 21 points.
He's always going to be good as a playmaker, right? Like he's always going to be great playmaking and stuff. But I think Pascal Siakam just had the better series. I really do. Like I think he was the one that kind of just, took them to a level that they needed to be in order to look this dominant.
The only time that Halliburton scored in the stat sheet versus Pascal was assists per game. And that's kind of expected though from a point guard's role. Is you're kind of the facilitator while you have a power forward like Pascal who's looking at more defensively, rebounds, steals, turnovers, things like that.
Pascal Siakam, 24.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, 52.3% from the field, only 1 turnover per game, which I thought was a pretty good stat line for him.
And Halliburton had 3 turnovers in the first quarter.
Something like that. I think he only averaged 1.7 or 1.8 turnovers per game at the end of it all. But he was at 21 points per game, 6 rebounds, 10.5 assists, and then he only shot, I say only like it's a bad stat, but he shot 45.5% from the field, which again, in comparison to Pascal Siakam, he shot 52.3%, and Pascal obviously averaged more with 24.8%, or 24.8 points per game.
Yep.
So I think it's deserving from both of them. I think if you had to split the trophy or something, like you could have gave it to both of them. But I think at the end of the day, because there is one, I think Pascal Siakam deserved it. He got the votes. I mean, I don't have any problem with it, but it was just, I think your point is that Tyrese Halliburton started to step up during the announcement.
Go watch look it up on YouTube, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP award, and watch the panoramic view of everybody. And it looked like Halliburton started to step up during the announcement, and then quickly it was Pascal Siakam, and he kind of like shot his head over and was like, that's word.
Yeah. He's like, so not me? He's like, this must be a mistake, right?
Yeah. And like, but it was funny because I watched it back a few times, and Pascal waited for his name to be called, and Tyrese kind of like already assumed the position. Like, I don't know. Could be gone either.
Yeah, I think there was a freeze frame of Tyrese Halliburton during that moment where he's like smiling, but he's like kind of in disbelief,
kind of pissed.
He's like,
I'm so happy.
He's like fake smiling,
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, good for you, bro. And he's like, kind of like,
yeah. And even after the game, they're like taking pictures together and stuff, and it was like,
He's like
you know,
looking at it.
I guess as an athlete, you understand it though. Like as an athlete and as like a really, big competitor, like you want to win stuff like that, right? Like especially being the head of the snake of your team, like the reason that they got here, we cannot forget, is because Tyrese Halliburton first of all hit that game, almost game winner,
Two of
but
them.
game tire.
Yeah.
We hit two of them during the postseason, but it was like, and then he had a excellent. I think it was a game 3. No, not game 3, game 4, where
he had the back-to-back 3-point shots to keep him in.
Well, he went up for like 32, 15 assists,
Yep.
however many rebounds, and like one of the best performances we've seen from, Eastern Conference Finals in a long time from just one player in particular. And then it's like, yeah, he had a bad game 5, and then I think he had a pretty good game 6. So I think he was well deserving of it. But I think Pascal Siakam, of course, just again, I guess more consistent is what you could possibly say about this, where I felt like he was actually a consistent player during that game 5 where Tyrese actually struggled, So I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I would like to know what everybody else thinks though. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely want to know everyone's opinions. From what I've seen so far in social media, is a lot of people are favoring or not liking the call and wanting Tyrese Halliburton to be or should have been the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. I just think Tyrese is more, his personality and his ego is more likable for social media purposes than Pascal Siakam, who's a little bit quieter and more just kind of focusing on their craft. So I think it's easier for social media to kind of like Tyrese more. I appreciate the athleticism from Pascal. I've been following him since 2019 with Toronto. You know that.
Yeah.
Mr. Reliable is what I call him.
You're a big Pascal Siakam fan.
Yeah, and I was just like, this guy is a person to watch, right?
Mr. Reliable.
Watching him and the way he played with the team back in 2019, early on, I was calling that, like, I think they're going to be the ones to win the NBA Finals, right? And so seeing the development of his career, moving to the East and going and playing with the Pacers over the last few years, and now they're 2 years in a row Eastern Conference contenders,
Eastern Conference,
right? And now they're going to the NBA. It says a lot about the development of him as an athlete and how he's grown over the past few years. And I just think it's a well-deserved award for him.
Yeah, he deserves it, man. He's really upped his game. He's only gotten better and better, which is scary because he's just a very consistent guy, man. Just a very consistent player. So congratulations to Pascal Siakam.
I'd love for him to come to OKC.
Maybe the Pacers, win the finals, and then Tyrese Halliburton gets the Finals MVP.
I can't wait to see the matchup.
I cannot wait to see the matchup, man. It's gonna be fun.
How do they handle?
I'm ready to break it down too.
Siakam's athleticism out there. I mean, OKC's got some cats, right? But
they got some cats, man.
Pascal Siakam is a new breed of
I will say,
athlete.
and I'll probably mention it again in the other podcast or the next podcast, but both times that Oklahoma City has played the Indiana Pacers,
they blew them out, right?
They have blown them out.
Yeah, 30 plus points sometimes.
Like 20, 30 plus points per game. Yeah. So it's been bad.
We'll go over that in the next episode. Our predictions. What does the Pacers need to do to win, and what does OKC need to do to win the NBA Finals? We'll harp on that here in a couple days.
Yeah. We are moving on though. Let's move on to some NFL, shall we? This is the first time we've actually mentioned the NFL in these last couple podcasts. You ready?
Yeah.
We're just gonna start a little tiny, just a sliver of the NFL. We're not gonna get too deep into it, but we're just gonna just ease our way to the NFL because we're starting in the basically the finals of the NBA. So I do want to touch on the Joe Flacco situation because I thought the story was pretty interesting because this has been brought up a couple times, and I think one got brought up with Aaron Rodgers. Like this question got brought up with Aaron Rodgers. I think this question also got brought up with Brett Favre at one point. But it was basically there was a reporter that asked, and I know that you've watched the video already, but for people who don't know, who have not watched this video, this clip, a reporter asked Joe Flacco, one of the quarterbacks for the Browns, if there's like a big responsibility for him to mentor some of the young guys that are in the locker room with him. And basically his answer was to the extent of it's not really my responsibility to, mentor guys. Like I'm not here to like hold their hand essentially. Like they're professionals at this point, but I'm also not going to give you a clarified answer because like no matter what I say, you guys are going to blow this thing out of proportion and make me look bad no matter what. Like you're just trying to get some clickbait out of me and you're going to, you're going to make your own narrative out of whatever I say. So if I say no, I'm not mentoring, then that means I'm basically a selfish asshole of a player or teammate that's not there for my team. Or if I say yes, that makes me look weak, like I don't want to start for this team, that I'm just here to be the veteran and to like support these young guys that are going to, be ahead of me essentially. Like Joe Flacco's there to compete, which Jordan, I love the answer that he gave because I completely agree, dude. I completely agree. I think Aaron Rodgers, it was either him or Brett Favre. I cannot remember who the hell it was. And I think it wasn't too long ago when this story came out, but I believe it's Aaron Rodgers. Someone, if you can fact check me, fine, by all means do it. I would love to know like the actual answer to this. But I think it was Aaron Rodgers who said maybe about Jordan Love whenever Aaron Rodgers was still in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He got asked a similar question. And he basically said, no, I'm not mentoring this guy because that's not my job to mentor him. And that kind of blew up. Like, and it made Aaron Rodgers look like a really big, like, asshole. A really big, mean person is what it made him look like. And so I was like, I didn't really understand why it made him look that bad because it's what Joe Flacco said. I was like, it's not really their job to mentor. Like, if they ask questions and they like want to know things, then by all means, like you're going to answer that. Like, and if they want to watch me go through my process and how I, approach the game and approach the practice and go through my warm up and get myself mentally and physically prepared for, the season, then by all means, I'm going to answer these questions. And if they want to watch me and follow me while I do that, then I am, all ears and I'm all open for all of that, But I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do because you're an adult and you're a professional. You got to figure that out. What do you think?
My input on it is sports media.
Sucks.
They love to get clips. They want something entertaining and they're going to twist the narrative with anything you say. So one, I respect the hell out of Joe Flacco for calling it how it is and saying, how do you want me to answer that? Right? Yeah. In a sense, just turn it back on them. Because if I were to say exactly what you said, if I were to say, no, I'm not going to coach these guys because that's not my job. I'm a player and I'm here to ensure that the Browns do have a great season and a shot at a title. Right? Yeah. That's the job of the athlete. Right? But like what you said, Aaron Rodgers got huge heat for it, and players all the time. I guarantee they're not the only ones that catch that. Right? Is if you're a veteran in the league and you have these young guys like Shadur that just get drafted. What is it? They now have 3 quarterbacks.
They have 4. They have 4. I was about to break it down for. They have Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett.
Right.
And Joe Flacco.
And now Joe Flacco. Right. Yeah. So you have 4 quarterbacks, and you're asking this veteran who's nearing retirement but can do really well. Right. Yeah. Same thing happened last season with the Colts. What's his name? The guy that was
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson, who's throwing horribly, right? And there was just like this. When Joe Flacco went in there, the receivers had better fantasy points, right? When Joe Flacco wasn't in there, the team did not do as well. Or the receivers didn't do as well, right? Can't say the team as a whole. Yeah. But in a sense, it does kind of reflect that as well. So when Joe Flacco now is with the Browns and has 3 quarterbacks underneath him, and everyone's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to train them? Are you going to coach them? He's like, in the locker room, if I say something, I hope people are listening. Right? He doesn't want to just talk to nobody. But at the end of the day, you can't expect Joe Flacco to be a coach or a personal trainer, right? He is there to perform and to perform well. That's his job.
He's a player, man. And he's still, if you're a player, that means that you're still learning. That means you're still, You're still gathering information. You're like, he was just with the Colts. So it's like, yeah, you're in a new system too. Like you got a lot of stuff to learn. And, but I think the year before that he was with the Browns too, but it was like, now you're back with the Browns and, you're having to relearn the system. You're having to relearn the players. Like you got some new pieces with you, it's like.
But as a quarterback and as a leader,
you have all this other stuff to worry about. You do not have, you can't be the babysitter and the quarterback.
But
as
a quarterback, you're trying to lead and inspire the other athletes around you, not the other quarterbacks. Right. That's not your responsibility. Like you don't go out there on the field with two quarterbacks. You go out there on the field with one quarterback. Sometimes 4 receivers, 3 receivers, 2 receivers, more receivers than anything. So the relationship between them needs to be the story and what's actually being harped on, and how he's leading the other athletes on the team at the time that when they're playing, who's on the field at the time, not how are you going to ensure that the 3 other quarterbacks we just brought into the team are going to perform as well as you as a veteran, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not his responsibility. It's not his job. And shame on sports media.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Shame on the news reporter trying to twist any little bit of whatever you say to whatever narrative they want to push out that week or that day to get clicks.
That reporter went in there was like, I'm gonna get this motherfucker.
I'm gonna get him.
He's like, I'm gonna get this guy.
He's
like looking at the other. He's looking at the other reporters like, watch this. Hey, do you?
It's the same situation of the Siakam case with the news reporter going up to him and was like, do you feel like you played hard? Or hard?
Why didn't you play harder? If you said that you played hard and the other team played harder. What? I did play hard. I don't know. It's basketball, dog. I don't know.
Any way you
what
word
else
that,
do you want from me, bro?
It's terrible.
Oh my god, dude. All right, let's wrap this thing up, bro. We got a fun game for you guys. Actually, we're gonna play a fun game for you guys. So we don't have a name for the game. I guess this is like just a trend that's going around, but it's we're drafting. We're gonna draft.
We'll come up with the name. It'll be in.
It might already have a name. I don't know. I think other people have done this before.
We'll have it as a title or subtitle, little category for you guys. But
we're gonna pick. We're gonna draft.
We're gonna have an NBA
SpongeBob
draft.
NBA draft with SpongeBob characters.
Oh yeah.
NBA draft SpongeBob characters. Here we go. Jordan, let's play rock paper scissors to see who goes first. You ready?
Well, before we do that, I want to go ahead and preface who we're drafting. Right? Let's lay out the characters.
No, we'll have. Okay, well, I guess for the podcast sake, yeah.
So that way people know. But we're gonna lay out the characters and how much their net worth is. Alone, only have $12 million or $12. Do we want to do $1 bills or do we want to do millions? Let's go ahead and get that.
Some people are kind of stupid, can't count. When like you hear the million behind it, and they're like, "Wait,
whoa!
I don't know how to subtract anymore."
You got $12, right? You got $12 to draft with. These are your athletes that are top tier 5-star. They're worth $5. You got Sandy Cheeks, you got Larry, and you got King Neptune. Okay, your $4 are Pearl, Mrs. Puff, and Krabs. You got $3. You got Squidward. You got Doodle Bob, and you got Gary. For $2, you got Patrick Star, SpongeBob, and Squilliam Fancyson. For $1, you get Plankton, Fred, or
my leg.
Or you got the anchovies. Which,
me.
God, you do not want them around the locker room. I'll tell you that. That's terrible.
Hopefully everybody can kind of remember, and I guess as we go on for the podcast's sake, like we'll, reiterate who's, $5 and who whatever, but you'll get the sense of it. It'll be fun.
But we have to fill all positions: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. And
it doesn't have 12... to be, you know what I mean? Like,
well, because anyone can play. Like Squidward could probably.
I could put all small forwards on my team.
If you wanted to, but if you want to be strategic on who, I want anybody to comment whose team they think is going to win.
I'm about to whoop your ass.
Whatever. All right, we're gonna go NBA draft style for SpongeBob SquarePants.
NBA draft SpongeBob characters. All right, rock paper scissors. Let's go. On shoot.
All right, rock paper scissors shoot.
Okay, I picked a rock.
I got paper. All right, okay. I'm drafting first. The number 1 draft pick for me is going to be Mrs. Puff at the center position for $4.
Mrs. Puff.
Oh yeah, big body Puff, man.
Dude,
you try
what
to
a
get
pick.
past. You try to get past the paint on Mrs. Puff here,
Especially if you make her mad, dude. If you make her mad, she like really puffs up.
Oh yeah,
She like that is like Shaq on like crack.
yeah. So I only have $8 left on my draft, but Julian, your pick.
Okay. I'm gonna start. I think I have to go with Sandy Cheeks, bro. She's just the most athletic, just all around, can do it all type of guy. I think I wanted to maybe go with Larry, but I was like, you know what? Sandy is just so agile and quick, and just when you
She
talk
got that
about
squirrel nut energy.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it's like when you talk about all around good player, I think like this is like the MVP of the league every single year, like
Yep.
Michael Jordan-esque type of player. Like
Yep.
you can build a team just around Sandy Cheeks. So I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
go Sandy Cheeks.
All right, my second pick for the NBA SpongeBob SquarePants draft is going to be Doodle Bob.
Doodle Bob,
You
get
gotta have that
angry energy,
that energy, man. That, like,
Yeah.
like you gotta have him out there like going crazy.
Wild up
He
the
is-
crowd, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
Gets
gets out
gets
there
everybody
just
going.
everywhere. Doodle Bob is my second pick.
Doodle Bob for
and I'm
$3.
gonna go ahead and put him at the shooting guard. I don't feel like he's got handles like that, so I'm gonna put him at the.
Wait, are we doing a
shooting
snake
guard
draft?
position.
Like, am I gonna go again? Oh, I guess we should have done that last round. Am I gonna go twice?
Oh well, I already went.
I mean, like it doesn't matter. I don't give a damn.
Yeah. I won rock paper scissors. I get to choose twice. All right.
All right, you got.
We're not snaking it.
You
We're not
got
snaking it.
$5. Okay, I'm gonna go. Oh, this is a tough one, dude. This is a really tough one. You know what? To back that up a little bit, I think I'm gonna go with kind of a like a gritty player myself, kind of a bad attitude type of player. I think I'm gonna go with Squidward.
Squidward. Why?
He's got hands too. You know what I mean? Because
he got the tentacles.
he's got tentacles,
He's
bro.
gonna get that
So he's catching everything.
Oh,
He's catching everything.
man.
He's gonna lob it up. He's got eight legs. So it's like, I guess in this episode he's got like 4, but it's like, or 6. But you get what I'm saying. Like he's gonna catch everything. He's gonna be good around the rim. He's gonna be a really good defender.
Yep.
So like steals, dude. Like he's gonna put his tentacles on the ball and just gonna rip it out. I like Squidward. I might put him at like my power forward shooting guard or something.
All right, you got $4 left. You're cutting it close.
Yeah.
All right. For my third position, I am going to have to go with Patrick Starr.
I like it.
Yep. He's also kind of a bigger body. I feel like he's got some not so much intelligence. I think his basketball IQ is going to be a bit lower. But have you seen that episode where Patrick Starr is in those boots? He's super tall.
I do, yeah, I do
He
remember
can
that one.
stretch himself out to that type of length.
I think that was in the movie, Spongebob movie.
Yeah, where he's wearing the fishnets and the boots.
yeah.
I'm going to have to go with fishnet boots Patrick Starr
Okay.
for $2.
All right, at least you got 3 left. Okay. That was a good pick. You know what? I'm gonna kind of go on a whim here. I think I'm gonna go with Fred. Think about it.
Be hurt.
The reason that he's getting hurt though is because he's getting exploded by exploding buildings and stuff, like big car crashes and whatnot. Like that's when he hurts his leg. But you never really see him hurt if he's just kind of like out there just hanging out. Like he seems like a pretty good guy. Like, and he looks fit. I mean, he looks like a good dude. As long as he's just not hurt, I think he's gonna be a pretty damn good player.
I don't know. Doodle Bob's going to be fast break, careless, reckless. He's going to get his ankles or his leg broken and be like, "Oh, my leg!"
Doodle Bob's just gonna be reckless though. He's gonna turn the ball over, which I think Fred is a smart player too. Though he's like, he's just unfortunate that he gets exploded by car crashes that run into the Krusty Krab.
All right. We'll give you that.
$3. All right.
All right. My next pick for the NBA SpongeBob draft is going to have to be SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, I like it.
I have to have the SpongeBob Patrick duo. Their dynamic out there is going to be mint. They're going to be some goofy goobers.
They're going to be real goofy goobers.
They're going to be some goofy goobers, but I have to take SpongeBob there.
Okay. I like the SpongeBob pick. That means you got $1 left too. Ooh. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Squilliam. I'm going to get two actually,
does that put you over budget?
No, I'm at $3. I'm at $3 right now.
Okay.
Yep. I think I'm gonna go. My team is gonna be crazy. You know what? I'm gonna go with Plankton because I think that's who you're gonna go with next, and I kind of think I need that mean soul on my team now. You know, somebody to really toughen up the crew. He's gonna be like the Patrick Beverly of my team. Like,
all right.
Hopefully he can build a contraption to maybe make himself a little bit taller, and he's gonna be able to scheme up some stuff. Offensively, I think especially defensively, I think he could like scheme up some stuff and be somewhat sort of a leader on the team as long as he's just like not toxic. I think as long as the Krabby Patty formula is like not in his way and not on his mind all the time, then I think he could be a pretty good asset to the team. So I'm gonna go with Plankton.
And all right, and then for my final pick at the NBA SpongeBob, final pick is gonna have to be the anchovies. God, there's nothing positive I can say about them. They're just annoying.
No, they're so bad. I didn't want you to get Plankton. I'm gonna go with Squilliam for my next pick. I think Squilliam, I think Squidward and Squilliam might end up fighting. I didn't know that's where my draft was going to lead to, honestly, so that's kind of a mistake on my part.
Yeah, that team chemistry is not going to be there, man.
It's not going to be good, but I got a couple villains on my team. I got Sandy, who can maybe just keep it together. You know what I mean? As long as Sandy is on my team, I think as long as they just give her the ball and everybody else can just, take that mean mentality and just play damn defense, then I think we'll be okay.
I think Plankton's going to get smashed by the ball.
I think he's going to build he's going to build something that'll make him a little bit taller.
Oh, okay. You're thinking the more engineer-minded Plankton.
Yeah, he is very smart. If you really think about it, he's very smart. He took over. He took over Bikini Bottom at one point. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. So I'm just saying. Let us know who you think who won. I would really like to know.
Well, let's go ahead and review our team. So for my point guard position, I got SpongeBob.
Yeah.
For my shooting guard position, I got Doodle Bob. So SpongeBob, Doodle Bob, boom, 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 boom. Right. From my small forward position, I just got the anchovies, they're just going to be kind of out there.
Yeah.
Power forward position, I got Patrick Star. He's going up for those hoops. I need that SpongeBob and Patrick dynamic. Mrs. Puff, big body center. She's blocking everything. She can puffle, do it all. Mrs. Puff, good luck driving in the paint on her big body.
Yeah. Okay, I like it, man. I think at my shooting guard, it's probably Sandy Cheeks. And let's see. I think I'll probably sorry, my dog is going crazy in the back. I don't know what's going on with her today. She's just barking to bark right now. I guess somebody's at my door or something, but I'll go through this pretty quick. But Squidward, I think I'm going to put at my 5. I think with the long tentacles, I think he could probably play center. He might just be like a Chet Holmgren, just be super skinny, but be able to get up tall and, defend the rim a little bit. I think I'm going to I'll put Plankton at like the point guard ish because he's just so small, but I think he could do it. And then I think I'm going to go with, she's going crazy today, bro. I'm sorry. But then I'm going to go with, oh my God, I can't stop her, bro. I'm going to go with, who else did I have? I had Fred. Fred at the power forward, bro.
Yeah.
Fred at the power forward. I think I got a pretty good squad. As long as we can match up against Mrs. Puff, I think we'll be all right. I gotta go, bro, because my dog is going crazy.
Let's go ahead and close out. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is season 1, episode 3 of our Past Our Prime podcast. I just wanted to thank everybody for their support, for all the ones that are following and subscribing. If you want to follow or subscribe, hear more of our content or our clips, you can find Past Our Prime on our TikTok, Spotify, Facebook, or you can just reach out to us personally. We probably know you by this point. So, Past Our Prime 25 or Past Our Prime on all platforms. We'll see you next time. Take care.
See you next time. Peace.